Yeah, I got to spam.
We are live.
Oh, hey, what's up? I didn't say anything. All right. Welcome to the Punk Rock Libertarians Podcast, episode 372. I am Otto Dassing, and I'm joined tonight with Jared Schneiderman.
What up, guys?
Alex Schlegel.
Hey, good to see you guys.
Extremist Bab.
Yo.
Good to see you as always. And a special guest. Like this is like OG punk rock libertarian, Mr. Barry Dungan. Did I say that right?
From the 90s. Donegan.
There you go.
Donegan.
Donegan.
Very close.
I already fucked up.
That's how, yeah.
A real podcaster would have asked you beforehand, and I was too impatient. We had to go. Like I was like, let's go.
One of them Irish
the
names.
Donegan, got it.
You had to blow that Liberty load.
Yeah, there was a lot of pre-Liberty come, in the before time. So I was like, let's just go. Like, let's just get this over with.
The chemistry was magic, y'all. It was before y'all got to see it, though.
Right.
So I could go all night anyway.
It's all downhill from here.
Yes, it's all downhill. So to keep this going, why don't you tell everyone about yourself? Like, what do you how long you been in the punk scene, libertarian scene? Just tell everyone about yourself.
I got converted to libertarianism in the 90s by a John Stossel documentary on the war on drugs, which was blowing up in my friends and my face at that time in history. This would be like 90. I graduated in 97, so it was like college was like 99 maybe. I was like all in on Badnerick. I was like supporting the Libertarian Party pretty aggressively. One thing that's interesting is I was already a viewer of Alex Jones before 9/11.
Yes.
Nice.
Which means I already heard him rant about everything that did happen while I was looking at it. I mean, I'm not one of those Alex Jones guys because I also heard his New Year's Eve podcast where the world was ending on 1999, but that didn't really happen.
Oh, he had a Y2K podcast?
Yeah, it was full of lies, man. It was like the end of the world was definitely happening.
Oh god,
you know
damn.
what
I mean? What a disappointment.
He was duped by the Aztec calendar.
No, that was 2012, dude.
Oh shit!
He's gonna do whatever it takes.
He was before his time.
Yeah, but at 9/11 he was right in a weird way where I was watching it like, some stuff has popped off. But
I mean, and the frogs are as gay as they've ever been. I mean, I don't think anybody can deny that.
I mean, they're gay as fuck right now.
The human pig hybrids are alive and well.
I'm telling you,
on
folks,
the loose.
I'm telling you.
Sorry, go on, Barry.
Oh, but so I was back into that game that long. I got involved in Ron Paul's presidential campaign. I was a county coordinator over Nashville and 30 counties around that. Then I got elected to serve because we were trying to make sure our campaign got treated fairly. We kind of, as a joke, ran for party positions in the Davidson County Nashville Republican Party, and then I accidentally won. Served in it for 2 years. At the same time, I'm touring the country with my band, and we're on this grindcore tour, and I'm playing a Gigi Allen "I Kill Everything I Fuck" cover. At the same time that I'm serving as an officer in the Republican Party. You know what I mean? This is like the 2008 Republican Party where I'm 30 or 40 years younger than everybody else in the whole thing. But they were like, I can use the internet. You know what I mean? Is what they were thinking. So I can at that time.
Finally, the young people are here.
Yeah. Somebody who knows how to turn on the internet.
Dude, you were so
in the party.
You achieved success during that time period because I unfortunately ran into road quite a few road blocks during that time.
What avenue did you take?
I did the same thing, man. I was
wait, so you're saying joining the Republican Party was a success move? Is that what you're saying, Alex?
No, it clearly wasn't. But what I'm saying is, and that's the thing, with these quote unquote post libertarians that think they can just I'll just run as a Republican. I was like, no, it might work out for you in certain areas, but in other areas it might not.
I believe in doing it in the area where it works.
Exactly.
In my town, there's a one-party system. It's the Democrats. And so the Republicans have a 30% automatic vote floor every time you run on a ballot. So if I'm going to run in my town, Like you have a 30% of people that are just going to walk up and vote Republican automatically. The brand is pretty strong. It's a loser brand though. But if you get your 14 on top of that 33 and you get in and the things you do are only to advance liberty and you're there, it's better than somebody else being there. You know what I mean? Is the way I looked at it once I was in there. And I was able to influence a lot. Like I put Ron Paul in the straw poll, right? Oh, here's a big one. Okay, this is a great story. It's a little bit of a long story. I got to apologize y'all for that, but it's worth it. But like, okay, when I was serving in that position, I had a opportunity from this friend of mine to go be a blogger. I wasn't a blogger at the time. Now later on, I did work for Ben Swan with Truth in Media for a long time.
Oh yeah, he's based.
That just beep, put that aside. But anyway, I got an opportunity to go, and it was like a question and answer with this congressman at the time who was running for governor. Credibly, his it was slipping my mind his name. It was a congressman from like East Tennessee. He was like a Bush Republican guy. I can't remember his name. It'll come to me later. And he had just voted for the bailout. $700 billion bailout of Wall Street, the one that started the Tea Party, right? And the Republican folks, the Tea Party was kind of starting. And I'd already been like protesting on the tax day with the libertarians, holding up signs of like pictures of all the babies that your tax dollars are blowing up. You know what I mean? Like as people pay their taxes at the post office. I was already doing that before they had the Tea Party. But like, so this guy just voted for that. Everybody was pissed off, but like everyone that was invited to it was just asking him these questions. Like they were just slobbing on him, dude. Just being like, how does it feel to have such girth? You know, like that's the kind of questions he was getting. Just like, just getting loved on by everybody when he just voted for that bailout. And I knew everyone was thinking about it. And at the end of the whole thing, I was just like, I raised my hand. I'm like, hey man, I just feel like we all are thinking it. Let's just get past it. You know what I mean? Like when you voted for the $700 gazillion bailout of Wall Street, what principle guided your decision and would you do it again? Now, bear in mind, this is 5 days ago, right?
Wow.
And he's like, he just looks at me in this, like he looks at me like in one of these, like he wanted to fight me. And this guy has a temper like that, you know? He's kind of a short guy that's got that Napoleon complex.
Napoleonic,
yeah. And he's kind of
complex,
he actually has a criminal record for doing coke and beating the shit out of a guy whose wife he stole. That's his wife.
Holy
Wow.
It sounds like an upstanding citizen.
This guy's horrible, man. He's a terrible guy. But like,
hey, sounds like we should vote for him. You know, sounds like a good guy to represent us.
So I asked him that, and he said, there comes a time in a grown man's life where you got to admit you made a mistake. Bush told me that the economy was going to completely collapse. Volkswagen said they were going to take all the jobs out of the district. I just panicked and I did the wrong thing, and it was a mistake. I'm serious. This was 5 days ago, dude. You know what I mean? And like the crowd is just like, everyone's like, oh my God, he said it, whatever. And so like then nobody asked any more questions. And so I walked over to his mailing list just so I didn't look like a plant. You know what I mean? Which I kind of was. But so I go over and assign his mailing list, and he comes and cuts me off and grabs me in this handshake. And he's like, that was a great question. And he's like looking at me like dead in the face, like an inch away for like a minute and a half doing this. Right. I think maybe he's trying to get people to take a picture of us shaking hands to show we're cool now or
like
something.
Squashing the beef. Yeah.
But he's also trying to like intimidate me. But like,
it's like the Trump thing where Trump like grabs people and like pulls them in, you know?
Yeah, it's one of he was trying to dominate, but he was like a lot littler than me. And I'm sitting thinking, like, does he have Secret Service or how does this work? Because like if he swings on me, like what is you know what I mean? It felt like that.
Yeah.
And then like later on, I was with this friend of mine, Matt Collins, who became the vice chair of the party at the Republican Party. He was kind of the ringleader of the Ron Paul crowd in Nashville. And he refused to shake his hand at this Reagan Day dinner and made this big production. And so he kept getting a bunch of negative media because of us personally. and he knew us to be the Ron Paul guys.
Well,
And then when they were doing Audit the Fed, the real beefy version of Audit the Fed that they had through the House back in like 2011, he comes up to us. He voted for it. And he comes up to us at the Reagan Day dinner and he said, I voted for that Ron Paul thing. Y'all can't be mad at me anymore. Straight up said that.
Wow.
We literally bullied him into his vote. And he told us that we did. I mean, so that shit can work if you go within the system sometimes. You have to have the right.
Yeah, but did the Fed get audited though?
That shows you how they think. Everything's in favor.
Kind enough to make the public turn against it, where it's really like well known how bad it is, and that's one reason why you see crypto taking off. And like a lot of these issues, we've come a long way. We were really, really bad off in like 2000 and now, granted, the pandemic has opened a whole nother sets of cans of worms that have made stuff way worse in other ways. But we had so many, like right after 9/11, man, the whole country was in a damn shit show. We were closing in on real Nazi type of weird stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
well, the Tea Party was wild during that time period. And it was that same time period. It was just like, I left the Libertarian Party. I was like, voted for Harry Brown, voted for Michael Bednarik. Like, I was like Libertarian OG. And then it's just like, holy shit, Ron Paul has opened up my mind to economics and the Federal Reserve and everything. And it's just like, well, look, this seems way more successful than the Libertarian Party if we're going to spread liberty. But you could definitely see how the Republican Party jumped in front of that Tea Party train and hijacked that shit and just like shut us down. And to like kind of same situation, Barry. It's like I ran as a 2014 and Babs, you know the story. It was at a fucking it was at that wedding we were hanging out, and I was telling you it was like fresh out of that, and I was just like,
where do you live geographically?
We all were, well, Otto, Jared, and I are all in Maryland, like basically Baltimore County. Like, yeah, Jared lives in the city. Otto and I live out in the county. Babs is in like Philadelphia area. Well,
he's in an undisclosed location.
He's yeah, like OG Babs is like Philadelphia area right now. Yeah. He's in undisclosed. Who the fuck knows where he's at?
Just like drinking IPAs in his compound.
Yeah, just sending internet to the Starlink.
Good beer, good weed on the Starlink.
Yeah, he's just like pulling his trailer wherever he wants to go. He's like a nomad, OG. But he's of that Ron Paul era, just like what you're talking about, Barry. And it's like that's the thing where it's like, look, I understand where some of these like post-libertarians are coming from. It's like they want shit to happen fucking now. And it's like, guess what? You tried that. I tried that. 2014, I was running for a voluntary position in Baltimore County in a small district, running for fucking Republican Central Committee, and literally came within 100 votes of winning that shit. A voluntary position. But what it took was a sitting congressman, Andy Harris, who's still a Republican congressman in Maryland. He's not even my congressman. Had to send out a letter, a 2-page mailer, full page. And I'm like, God damn, like how much did you spend on that mailing? And
as much as they have to. It doesn't matter how much it costs.
You see how much you wasted their resources, which is
right.
Awesome.
Well, exactly. And
that's very useful.
But that's the thing. I was still butthurt. But till Babs, and we're at this wedding, and our friend Garrett, it was at his wedding up, and he said, like, how'd that make you feel? He's like, yeah, you're probably pissed off. And I always stick with this, Babs. You were like, guess what? How much money did they waste? And how much did you spend? And I'm like, I spent $100 on Vistaprint cards and knocked on doors. And I can't. Yeah. They were so fucking scared. These fucking Republicans.
They probably spent hundreds of thousands of dollars.
They were so scared of Ron Paul, actual libertarian ideas, actually infiltrating their party and actually engaging young people. And actually,
but a lot of them did long term. If you look at how many,
exactly,
it really did work.
We're still here, and I'm rocking with the Mises Caucus, and that's Ron Paul Revolution 2.0. You know, that's 2.0.
Well, I think we knew, libertarians knew all along that eventually the Republicans are going to completely discard Ron Paul, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
as soon as I heard he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
even in the game, I'm like, oh, that's fascinating. They're gonna hate this, like, because we know what Republicans are all about, and we knew Ron Paul. I'm like, oh, this would be
Yeah.
neat. And then I just started watching him succeed, though, and I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, I never knew he'd actually get traction. Then next thing you know, he's in the debates, just destroying Giuliani. Just
beautiful.
mutilating Giuliani on a national stage, and I'm like, damn,
It's
it's on.
It's like those were the days. Like I remember going to a Ron Paul debate. It was at Morgan State University.
You got to see a live one?
Yeah. Oh shit. This was
man.
great, Barry. Like, so there used to be this very based talk show radio host in Maryland. He was the quote unquote conservative voice, but he broke away. He's a former Marine, and he was like the conservative talk radio host in the Baltimore area on the conservative station. But he was so fucking libertarian. He was just like 100% Ron Paul. And I remember starting listening to him in 2007. And when he was just like, hey, who would you like to see as a 2008 candidate? And this talk show host, his name is Ron Smith. He's now deceased, but he was in the Baltimore area. And when it's like 2007, way before the primaries, and every other caller was like Ron Paul. And I'm like, yo, this
up.
I was like, this quote unquote conservative, air quotes for those that are listening. I'm like, yo, this guy's based. And then when I started listening to him, it was like he was ostracized. But I mean, we're in liberal Maryland. So he's ostracized from the conservatives in Maryland because he was outspoken against the Iraq war, post 9/11, the whole security state, everything.
I think he was easy as hell to sell. In Tennessee, he was easy to sell. Like
100%.
Yeah.
But
it's
in
a different state.
Exactly. Like that's the thing, the demographics, and that's like this post-libertarian shit that's going on. It's just like, look,
what is it? Can you define this post-libertarian shit? Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it's basically like this. All right, so you have individuals like P. Quinones, who I completely respect. Like he's been on the podcast. Really, like I met him in person. Otto met him in person. Like
we gave each other COVID. Yeah,
we all spread the COVID.
There was an exchange of bodily fluids.
At the
at
the Mises tent in New Hampshire.
What happens in the Mises tent stays in the Mises tent.
Yeah,
it's pretty well unless it spreads.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. It didn't really stay there.
But
go on.
No, it's just basically now this thought of basically you have the libertarian Lolberts, and then just kind of like
what's a libertarian Lolbert? Just help me understand the characters involved.
We need like a graphic.
We need a glossary for Alex over here.
I could define it as the self-defeating,
based Lolbert.
No, I think I understand I mean, you hear these terms used, but let's just be clear, right?
So Bat's been away for a while. He's just in an undisclosed location, just living life. He's been out of the Libertarian Party, and God bless him. You shouldn't be involved. The only reason you should be involved in the Libertarian Party is you're involved in the Mises Caucus, or if you're not in the Mises Caucus way. If you are actually libertarian and not some fucking basically right now, the number one fucking issue should be the cult of COVIDs. Okay.
What other issue could there be?
Exactly. And
it's
then
put pause on any other thing existing.
Well,
exactly.
I would also make room for the fact that the president of the United States is basically a confirmed pedo, and is just still like running things and walking around, being allowed to be in the same room with children.
But Barry,
what about all the money printing and the
and then there's that destroying the economy thing. Oh yeah,
exactly. It's all tied together.
the global plunder and mass murder. I forgot.
The way I've always characterized this, what's happened is that I always thought we were in one of those movies that's like a sophisticated political drama with like Tommy Lee Jones or something, but we're actually in like some kind of a B movie from Sci-Fi Channel with
Reno
like
911,
like Asylum Channel, like
with like Skeet Ulrich as the main star, and you got like
Jean-Claude Van Damme, as like a bad guy,
Wesley Snipes,
maybe off of his tax evasion,
Wesley Snipes was kind of stout with his movies, and he was I
But
feel
then
like he was trying to be a hero, but he just didn't have enough people having his back.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
same with who's the other? Like, that's the thing. Like, any black celebrity that's like doesn't pay their taxes or go along with the program, they're just like, hey, you're off.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
done.
skewered.
Your career's done. Like, who's the chick from the Fugees? What's her face? She forgot to pay her taxes. Or
Lauren Hill.
Lauren Hill. Yeah. Done.
I don't know why.
Done. Now
She was
I
having
don't-
like mental health issues and didn't think of things like paying taxes. For a while.
I have firsthand stories of individuals. She does not reimburse musicians that she plays with going back years. But the fact like she didn't pay her taxes, Wesley Snipes, like anybody not going along with the program, like i.e. Kyrie Irving, who the fuck else? Like anybody
Now,
going,
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, exactly. You know, anybody going against the program or speaking to
Dave Chappelle,
because he's
Yeah.
a transphobe. I watched the whole documentary, watched it with my girlfriend. She's just like, she offended everybody. Like, what the fuck's with these? Like, it was equal opportunity.
It was a pro-trans special.
That too, Barry. Exactly.
Entirely in the
Yeah.
language of offensive comedy. Like if they can't get that, they're not smart enough. They probably didn't watch it. I think the people that are mad saw clips because I
It's
think if
this
they really
fucking-
saw it, they'd probably be in tears and whatever. You
does
know what I mean?
anybody
Like, it's-
actually know somebody that was actually mad, or is it just a fabricated or imagining somebody's
It's these
mad at this?
Twitter like 16-year-olds and stuff a lot of the times who are like, it's like people that have just learned how to do hot takes and they're just freaking swinging at grandma, dude. They're just like, grandma, you're
Yeah.
a Nazi. Boom, boom,
Exactly.
boom, boom. And like
They're
those
like-
people get to run the show now instead of being.
This is a real thing out there in
ignored.
the world. Okay, just checking.
It's
I don't know what goes
They're
on
punching. They're punching way far up. They're punching way above their weight class, and then they're just
and too hard. Like, you're-
exactly.
You can never convince anyone. No one's going to want to be about what you're about when all you do is personally destroy everybody. And you're also going to take a
Yeah.
revenge destruction at some point that will take you out. So
And here-
like,
And the other aspect of that is like, all right, you might be able to cancel all of us on this podcast. You might be able to take us off social media, but guess what? Dave Chappelle is a fucking goat. Kyrie Irving has some clout. Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't
Greatest
give a
quarterback.
fuck. Greatest,
Yep.
probably one of the best quarterbacks of our time. Nicki Minaj, she made her money. She doesn't give a fuck. It gets to a point where it's like you keep going. This fucking like it is like everything is falling apart, and everything that's been going on with Aaron Rodgers, it is just mind fucking blowing because everything, it's like the visceral hate of normie mainstream sports
Right.
talk radio.
So for
And
people
then
who
when you-
haven't heard, I mean, to kind of give the backstory on this, but so Aaron Rodgers last week after the game tested positive for COVID, and which was kind of weird. He was immediately ruled out for the game this week and possibly even next week. And so people who know the rules, like the NFL really like changes all of its rules around this year. So it's like they literally shame you, and it's
yeah.
everyone
They
admits
literally-
this.
and no, Otto,
there's two sets of rules for two
we've-
different sets: the unvaccinated and the vaccinated.
We
in the
talked
league.
about this. We talked about this on a podcast because
We
both
did.
like Jared, you, me, a lot of us that listen to this podcast, it's like, yeah, guess what? We like sports. We like sports ball, right?
Right.
And it's like two-tier system. It's like a caste system within the NFL. Like basically, if you're vaccinated, it's like, cool, you don't get tested for 2 weeks. If you're unvaccinated, oh, guess what? You got to wear a mask. You got to socially distance. You can't even eat in your own cafeteria. You can only be within close contact of your teammates within 10 minutes. Like
This is
basically,
such
you can't.
bullshit.
Right.
I mean,
Like, it's
is it, I mean, don't they know about the new Lancet study that shows that with the new Delta variant, you're just as likely to get it from an unvaccinated person as a vaccinated person? There's
Right.
virtually no difference. Like, so to get a vaccine now is completely for your own protection, and even the people in charge aren't claiming you're going to protect anybody else with that. It's
Right.
merely for your
So the
own
rules-
benefit.
Yes.
So to
So, Baz,
start
we gotta-
like doing this to people, there's no basis. What is their basis in logic?
And both Jared, Otto, myself, Barry, I don't know if you're a big sports ball fan, but fantasy football.
I am a big fan of Titans
NBA,
football and Grizzlies NBA basketball. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
I've
well,
seen you
I
post
mean-
a few NBA.
Dude, you're down south. You're down south, so college football's life down there. That's understandable.
I'm not a big
Um,
college football guy, but I appreciate. I maintain the knowledge enough to talk about it because it's important
right.
in the South.
But the thing is, it's like all of us have witnessed, like you have players that are quote fully vaxxed that are getting COVID and missing games.
Right. And the thing with this situation, as soon as they were like, wait a minute, why is he being subjected to these other rules? Did he allegedly, when the season started, he told everyone, he used my line. I'm so pissed. He's like, so now my bullshit line that I've been telling people like is out the window.
I'm
Like,
immunized.
so he
What's his
said, he was
line?
like, he said, they asked him, are you vaccinated? He goes, oh, I'm immunized. Yeah, I'm immunized. And that's what I've been telling people. I'll say, oh yeah, I'm completely immunized. That's what I tell people. Like when they ask.
Immunized.
Well, according
Yeah,
to studies,
good word.
like being a world-class athlete, you are immunized. That's the thing that bothers me. I do believe in the vaccine. Honestly, if I was 75 and I had 3 or 4 comorbidities, I
Right.
would take the
Like
vaccine.
Communism. If
I
I was a
believe it
communist,
works.
I would
But it-
definitely get the vaccine.
But
Right?
it doesn't
Yeah.
protect somebody who is a world-class athlete at their
Right.
prime of their life.
And
Because
that's
they
the
don't
thing.
need any protection.
And
at
Barry,
all.
that's the thing. They're trying to shame this guy. And Jared, you could queue up probably the first video I sent. The first 3 are Aaron Rodgers. But if anybody listens to what he has to say, it's like very fucking reasonable. Everything he has to say is 100%. Jared, you could play all 3 videos, and anybody that actually, and I haven't watched a full interview. These are the highlights that have been floating around Twitter. Anybody could watch this and be like, all right, well, he sounds pretty.
So he's been like flouting all
probably
the
are.
rules. Yeah, he's been saying like because you have to wear a mask at the microphone when you meet people, and you have to wear a mask on the sidelines if you're not vaccinated. So he went ahead. He's been doing this entire time, and like so everyone just thought. So he's like, yeah, the rules really didn't like. They were dumb. They're meant to shame me, so I wasn't gonna do it, and I didn't want you guys knowing about it because you guys would just do what you're doing now. You're shaming me. You're making me feel like I'm a bad person. And so now he has COVID. So whenever you're ready.
That
So this
are
is it.
vaxxed that tested positive. So this idea that it's the pandemic of the
There's no audio on this.
unvaccinated is just a
We're
total
noting
lie.
he's out doing podcasts.
Right.
He's not hospitalized. He's out doing a podcast instead of either
Yeah.
sleeping or being
He-
tired
he's-
or having
he-
sex.
yeah, he's at home on like Pat McAfee
Yeah.
Pat McAfee's podcast.
So Jared, we could hear the audio if you just want to keep
Oh,
playing.
you
yeah,
could.
yeah, play it.
It's
Yeah.
just me. Sorry, hold on. I gotta fix
Go
this.
back to like these 2 questions
How
in the
does-
facility that are vaxxed that tested positive. So this idea that it's the pandemic of the unvaccinated is just a total lie. And I go back to like these 2 questions for the for this woke mob. Like number 1, if the vaccine is so great, then how come people are still getting COVID and spreading COVID and unfortunately dying from COVID? Like, if the vaccine is so safe, then how come the manufacturers of the vaccine have full immunity? So let's just step back and realize, like, this vaccine is revolutionary, the things that they're doing. However, we don't know a whole lot about it. And to just say that it's a blanket for all that ails you, in my opinion, is wrong and reckless. And for the media out there taking shots at me, like, you don't know my story, now you do. So quit lying about me. And personal health decisions, in my opinion, should be private. And they shouldn't have to be like gone through the ringer and over scrutinized by, people who are just pushing their own type of propaganda on the people and ideals. You want to have a conversation about it? I'm more than willing to have a
Right. So
Bam!
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he nails and like in that he even has like more of like a nuanced just regular like opinion. It's not even like, well, why is it, like all these kind of like what people would call conspiratorial, which is not. But he even has like some of his other takes from that interview. They were just like, it's on point. It makes sense. Like he's just saying like these rules aren't meant to stop COVID. They're meant to shame people into getting vaccines. And he's like, and that's not what I wanted to do. So I just didn't tell anybody about it. He said my team knew, the the news reporters knew, but we just didn't go public about it until I got COVID and I had to be subjected to these stupid rules. And I'm like, he just like, I understand, like he could be completely wrong, but the fact is he is getting destroyed in this left sports center or sports talk radio,
ESPN
news media. Yeah. He's getting
like
crushed.
Listen to that shit. Like,
who has a strong immune system, keep building your immune system and do what you got to do. Do what's best for your body. But that opinion, doesn't work because we've given away billions of dollars to these pharmaceutical companies now for these vaccines, and it's not going to stop. Merck's coming out with a pill.
Listen, this is
Pfizer's coming out with a pill that's going to help. It's basically the expensive versions of ivermectin. Why do people hate ivermectin? That's because Trump championed it because it's cheap, generic. Can't make any money off it. But it's been used 1 billion times in India. Go look at that research. What's going on over there? If you're a healthy person.
So what do the other guys say in response to this? Do they just like kind of stare at him?
I haven't. I've only seen like Alex. I've only seen the highlights. I've seen like maybe like a total like it's like
because like Pat McAfee's face looks like bright red, dude.
Oh, but they get kind of like squirmy, like they don't know what to do. They're like,
Jared. So I sent you this video. I'm sending it to you now. But this is like, okay, so one of my friends, he's a gay dude from Wisconsin. He lives down in DC. I've known him for years because like one of his best friends, I know him for a while, and he's like a Green Bay, like diehard Green Bay Packers fan. And I sent him like kind of these videos. I was like, yo, your boy, like Aaron Rodgers. And he is literally losing his goddamn mind about this. And this last video is like, it's from Libs of TikTok, but it completely encapsulate, like it basically is this dude's like freaking the fuck out because he's got all his jabs, everything, like diehard Packers fan, loves Aaron Rodgers, but because of all this, he's just like, I'm burning his jersey. This is it. Like just freaking, like going full retard.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, that's a little dramatic, dude. And I sent him one of those video clips we just shared. And I was like, I don't know about you, but he seems pretty reasonable in all these videos. And I sent that to him. He's like, that's fucking bullshit, blah, 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 this and that, just freaking out. And I'm like,
people are so emotional over this
exactly stuff. And then so this video, Jared, if you want to cue it, but this is like people,
it's a little on the long side. You want to just watch a few seconds of it?
Yeah, but this is basically some of these like people that are in mass hypnosis and have been like hypnotized and are in this cult of COVIDs. This is their mindset, and it's just like, and you send like all three of those videos. I was like, I don't know, he sounds pretty reasonable, but then you get this fucking retard, like this fucking guy.
Seriously, this shit I did not expect. Aaron Rodgers confirms he's unvaccinated, has taken ivermectin in first comments after testing positive for COVID-19. What the fuck, man? Seriously? Horse dewormer, Aaron? Where'd you hear that? From Joe Rogan? Yeah, actually, yes. He took advice from Joe Rogan.
But it's not
my quarterback.
It's not horse dewormer.
That I respected so
my
highly.
Quarterback.
Fuck.
Took advice from Joe Rogan.
You could just
COVID-19.
Like, fuck this guy.
I'll take this
like,
off.
Fuck this
like,
guy.
yeah, you should have been listening to Joe Biden and his pedophile cronies for your health advice.
Okay. First off, this guy is a fucking fraud because he's got this like New York, fucking like, hey, he's totally trying to play like that Ian Rappaport, like that New York, like I'll punch you in the
Michael
fucking
Rappaport.
face.
I can't
Michael
stand
Rappaport.
Wait, I thought this was the gay guy that you knew.
Well, no, that was
a different anecdote. That was
Yeah,
a-
exactly.
dude.
It's an anecdote.
Sorry, sometimes it's hard to
anecdote.
follow you, dude.
No, sorry. But my gay Packers friend.
Also, move the mic away from your face a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, you're getting.
I don't think they like to be called Packers. Okay, I think
Okay,
that's
sorry.
that's totally
What I'm
derogatory.
getting at, like, basically his like text response were of the level of this fucking retard on TikTok who has that like Brooklyn douchebag New Yorker. I'm like, are you?
I got one fact. I guess let me just read this one fact because it puts all of this in context. Okay. And you guys heard about this Lancet study recently. Okay. Vaccinated just as likely to spread Delta variant within households as unvaccinated.
100%.
Okay. People who contracted COVID-19 had a similar viral load
35%.
regardless of whether they had been vaccinated. The study found that 25% of vaccinated households contracted COVID, while 38% of unvaccinated individuals were diagnosed with the disease. So it's very similar, right? Within this study, it's like anybody pretending that this whole, like he said in that speech, this whole idea of it's a pandemic of the unvaccinated is bullshit. And it's nothing but a narrative constructed to sell pharmaceutical products and to scare
100%.
people and to pressure people. And this study basically reveals what we've already known. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out later that you're even more likely to get some kind of variant because you've been vaccinated, right? We've seen you're Israel, you're the most vaccinated. Oh, you also have the most this new infection. Oh, parts of Ireland, highest vaccinated rate. You're so bragging about that. And suddenly, look, your cases are spiking. Like there's all kinds of weird shit going on. And to see people act like, oh, you're unvaccinated, you're somehow a threat to other people. That is just bullshit and has to be nipped in the bud.
The narrative is collapsing. To your
In
point, 100%.
Nashville, all of the venues require either a test or a
Yeah, same
vaccination
here.
card, right?
There's no
And one
reason
thing
for that. This
I happen
proves
to know that at numerous of these events, there's been outbreaks. And so it's always the vaccinated people that aren't being tested that are bringing the disease in because the unvaccinated people are tested on the way in. They had one where everyone was vaccinated and 2 people got hospitalized. That was actually at a
First
vaccine
of all,
only
nobody
event.
even actually is clear on who's vaccinated and who's not vaccinated.
But
Some
that
people say,
definition's going to change.
It's been
That-
this
it's
many
gonna
months,
change.
you're not vaccinated anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna switch you back to unvaccinated. Oh, you were vaccinated last week, but it's not past 2 weeks, so we're gonna call you unvaccinated, and we're not gonna report that as a vaccine injury. There's so many shenanigans going on at every
Right.
single level.
Straight up,
Anything you look at.
straight up to CDC. Like, here's the thing, and it's you can look it up. It's facts. You're not considered fully vaccinated after 14 days. So you get your second jab. If you go to the hospital for any adverse, whatever the fuck situation, after that second jab, 14, potentially maybe 15, 16 days, depending on the time frame, you might be considered you're unvaccinated. You are unvaccinated.
Yeah,
per
so
the
that heart
CDC.
inflammation, we don't know anything about that. You're unvaccinated.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
yeah.
I had pericarditis before.
Really?
And,
How that happened?
Now, granted, so this gives me some insight. Now, granted, I am the person who gets the absolute worst case scenario where you don't respond to treatment, which is only 1%. I mean, they're talking about, they're right about normally each year, I got it when I was 16, right? It had nothing to do with the vaccine or vaccines or anything like that. I was running track and I'm kind of naturally long limbed and skinny limbed, and I've added a lot of muscle mass since then, but at that time I did not have any. So I was vulnerable what they call skinny white boy diseases, which are like pericarditis is one of those, and that's who's getting it now.
I didn't know there was a category of skinny white boy diseases.
There is Caucasian, lanky, low
it's
body
weird.
weight, tall.
To your point,
that
Barry,
combo.
my brother, he's like very skinny. He did track, and like I kind of encouraged him to do like cross country, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, man! Like you're a Boy Scout, you like doing this shit, like just run long distances." I was like,
What?
"Yeah, well,
No,
I encouraged him. I was like, dude, you're like runner, like you're skinny as fuck, like."
Was he good at it?
Yeah, he was good, but the problem was, to your point, Barry, it's like he has I wouldn't say like he doesn't have heart issues, but he's in that like exactly
It's
what you're
bad for
talking
your
about.
health. Doing long distance running without like a really smart.
Well, he does
program
have
that's,
like somewhat of a
very
heart
high
condition.
calorie.
He does have a somewhat of a heart condition, and based on his body type, it's like that skinny white dude shit. Like
I had mine when I was running track. Now, granted,
Yeah.
I had pericarditis for a while, and I ran a 5-minute, 14-second mile with pericarditis. Thank you very much. But
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
at a certain point, I dropped in body weight to what from having it. Like basically, it has the same sensation as heartburn. Like when you breathe in, it just hurts to breathe in deep, right? So you kind of go shallow with your
there are
breath.
some people that are like genetically that
would be me.
yeah, like
Yeah,
there are
unfortunately.
Yeah,
At this
unfortunately,
time,
that
very
are-
unfortunately, at this particular time in history, is a real shitty time to be the
Yeah.
worst case scenario pericarditis guy. Where, you know, like when it comes to the vaccine choice, I am a personal trainer. I'm 43 in a week. I do like 100 times more than the exercise guidelines. You know what I mean? I play basketball with 22-year-olds, full court, 5-on-5 for hours.
Dude, I want
and
you
don't
to be
have
my
problems with it.
fitness coach so bad.
Right, same
Yeah,
here.
do it.
So
That's-
bad.
That's my
Yeah.
money maker. That's my money
It's
maker.
like
I really want to
But-
hire you.
You need to whip my
Meanwhile,
ass into
I'm
shape.
the worst case scenario pericarditis.
Oh, that's scary though.
So
Yeah.
like to take the vaccine, and meanwhile, I had coronavirus. I had the COVID, and I had a weird, like the night before I deadlifted like 1,000,000 pounds, and I slept 3 hours, and I had a long day of clients, and in the middle I was going to take a nap. And by the time I was closing in on that nap, I had like some pretty intense muscle soreness, and I was really tired. But at the same time, I had worked out hard and I had 3 hours of sleep. So this kind of checked out. And then I took a nap, and the nap was real weird. And I was sweating a lot during this nap. And then I had a 99-degree fever. And then I woke up. I kind of like took some caffeine and smoked a bowl. And then it went away. And, you know, I didn't feel anything else. And then once I discovered from my roommate saying he had it, that it was the coronavirus, I tried to smell a bowl and it did not smell like anything. I'm like, okay, yeah, I've had the coronavirus.
Oh no.
Sounds
I was symptomatic
exactly-
for about 3 hours. Kinda. Not really.
That dude, I mean, that sounds exactly what happened to me. It was like it started with like this. I was working out in the heat, and it was like 100-degree heat here in Baltimore, and like I started to get like cramped up and like body aches, and I was like, oh man, this isn't good. But then I was like, I'm just dehydrated from working out in the weather, and then like I had this mild fever of like 99, and then like it all went away kind of, and then I kind of just started getting stuffy. Like my nose was stuffy, like I was just like, just whatever. I just came back from Pork Fest, and it got real cold, and whenever it gets real cold, like I always get like those little like bugs whenever that happens, like the little cold. So I just assumed it was that, and then it wasn't until like a day or two later that I couldn't smell or taste anything. I was like, oh shit, this is probably what this
so
is.
you know, because there's nothing else
Yep.
does that.
Nothing else.
You know what I
No,
mean?
it doesn't. Yeah, and
Only
I was like,
weaponized viruses do that.
and so for 10 days, I just kind of felt like I had a cold, just for like 10, and then it went away. And then like 2 weeks later, I got my taste and smell back.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
but
what-
it can kill
like,
the hell
it
out
was-
of some people. That's the one
I know,
tricky part, but
Right,
it doesn't
my brother
kill
has
the
it
hell
really
out
bad
of
right
people
now.
who are young and in good cardiovascular shape who don't have an
No,
organ.
I'm not. I am the least healthy person. I just have a good
Yeah.
immune system. I do, but
But
like
at
Do you
least-
have bad?
Right.
Do you have bad cardiovascular numbers at the doctor, or do you just like?
yes. Yeah.
He's not very
High
physically
blood
fit, but he's
pressure.
not communist either. So it kind of balances out.
Lift weights and walk. Lift weights and walk.
I did. Well, see,
Boom.
this is another podcast. Well, maybe we'll talk about it in the after hours. But yeah,
after
Yeah, we've got a health
We should
spin-off
do it,
podcast.
and after hours, we should have Barry give us each our own like new fitness regimen that he's going to
Yeah.
recommend for us.
And you fucking dickheads are only paying $1 for that shit. You should pay $5 for that.
yeah, man.
Fucking assholes. You're
This will
about
be a
to
new-
get
that'll be a new TR podcast. Like, yeah, we'll give you like one
Like,
video session with Barry.
Barry's fit level.
Boom.
Barry's fit level. Donate
And
$5.
we'll get you, and
You'll
we'll give you a
his-
cut.
Yeah, you'll get his own workout, yoga, powerlifting.
I don't do any yoga.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with yoga, but it's too corny in terms of the aesthetic to me.
Jazzercise, a little jazzercise action.
It's too punk. Yeah, you're too punk rock for yoga.
Exactly.
I don't like the way it looks.
For $5, you'll get Barry's jazzercise routines.
Also, those yoga gurus rape the hell out of everybody. By the way,
Oh, I know.
Yeah, fuck those guys. Yeah,
they're just on the loose, just raping by the tens of thousands. It seems like
Yeah.
they're the most prolific rapers on. They're like Epstein's.
Yeah.
You know what I
Wait.
mean? Like,
Wait a minute. This is a great conspiracy.
it's
No,
not.
but
It's
it's
true,
true.
dude.
It's
This
true.
is
So
Look how
yoga
that
is
fucking-
basically an excuse for mass rape, is what you're
All
saying.
right,
Look
Like,
up.
that's
Look
the
up
only
how
reason
many
yoga
of them.
exists?
Dickheads, pay all those listeners, pay a couple bucks to listen to After Hours because there was that Netflix special, Barry. We'll talk in the After Hours of that fucking yoga guru who's raping bitches left and right. We'll talk
this
about
guy
it in the
was
After
just a
Hours.
Horrendous.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah,
terrible
we'll talk
guy.
about it on the After Hours because I know who you're talking about. So yeah, pay up, pay $1, pay $5.
Is it Joe Biden?
No.
Could you imagine Joe Biden trying to do yoga or trying to teach yoga?
Dude, did you see him
would
meditating though?
He would
Did you see
shit
him
in his
meditating?
pants.
No, he got the
That's what he was
meditating.
doing, dude.
He's got meditation on lock. He got that on lock.
Meditating.
Yeah.
He's doing a little like qigong with the arms. You know.
Hey, are we going to talk about the new diary, the revelations on the diary and the FBI
Yeah.
arrest? We got to get to that at some point.
Yeah.
Too.
There's so much to get into
And Frank?
the After Hours. If
Yeah,
you're not paying at least $5, let alone
Well,
$1.
I feel like Joe Biden as a pedophile is like regular show level content.
That is
right.
that
Yeah,
is-
that's
that
so we
is
call
hard.
it evergreen content.
Yes.
Yeah.
Evergreen.
Evergreen.
And the
Faux
fact
show.
that this is so on point with that, just reaffirming what we've already known, we've already been, exposing. We talk about all the time that this asshole who claims to be running the country is a freaking kid sniffer. And I mean, it's worse than sniffing. Like it turns out he's like showering with the kids and stuff. Like, what the hell's going on there?
Yeah, Project Veritas. Project Veritas. We'll get into that in the After Hours, but they were FBI.
What? Yeah.
rated.
So what happened? What is this? I never heard about this until
This
the
is-
Project
this is the thing you
Veritas got
shared.
raided.
This is the thing you
I
shared.
haven't heard about
Babs.
this at all.
What are we looking at here?
Yeah. you
Well,
tell us.
this was some. I think this diary was released like before the last election, but it was unconfirmed. So everyone's like, "Well, we don't know if this is
Right.
really true. It looks awful because it's stuff. It's stuff about like about how this girl was hypersexualized at a young age." And then weird
who's the
stuff
girl?
with their dad probably being
Biden's
abused.
granddaughter. Biden's granddaughter, supposedly.
I can't
is
figure out
her
what
Diary.
it involves showering with kids. Like,
It looks like something about
Yeah.
showers with my dad, which
we
I
get-
guess
we could
probably not appropriate.
We
Yeah.
could get into it more in the After Hours, but Project Veritas basically
we got 13
exactly-
minutes. Alex, stop trying to end the show.
Well,
We've been plugging this after
Louis-
hours since
He's
like
just
30
trying to
minute mark.
promote he's just trying to promote the Patreon.
fuck,
at this
okay,
point,
so
yeah.
we went beyond because last we put our clocks back an hour. So
Yeah.
all my clocks are way the fuck off. Like, what time is it? I don't know.
7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern time.
But so now the
35.
FBI
But
did
some
they arrest him or just they raided Project Veritas, the guy
Veritas.
the guy that exposed this. He had
Yeah.
already turned these documents over to police, but they still felt like we have to search him now.
and to Project,
intimidation move.
yeah, but to Project Veritas's credit, apparently, so what they're putting out there is like, look, we obtained these documents like 2 years ago. We did our due diligence to try to verify these documents, and we never could, and we never put it out. But their place was raided by the FBI because apparently this has been leaked out on the internet. So they're somehow tying Project Veritas. They're like, look, we never put anything out there, but maybe because they were following the story. I mean, this is where we're at in society. Is
Didn't the FBI just confirm it's legit?
No clue, dude. I had never heard of this.
Why would the FBI have
No,
done
no,
any
no,
of this
but-
stuff if this wasn't all? If these all aren't now they're like, yeah, we're
But here-
now investigating how you got this stolen diary.
They've all got-
confirming
but
the
here's the
diary's
thing.
legitimate.
No. You're right. To that point, Babs, you're correct. Yes. they verified this, but 2 years ago, Project Veritas was like, we want to run this story, but they didn't. They never released because it's like, we can't verify this. So they've been sitting on this for like 2-3 years, and all of a sudden they get
finally
raided.
the FBI
That's
verified
one problem
it for them.
with Project
Right?
Veritas's overall strategy is that they now granted they shouldn't be persecuted by the FBI, but they do
Right.
tend to use methods that are like, you know, like the police couldn't even use those methods on you because it would be kind of sketchy, like doing things like having people fake identity people coming in and like tricking you into a conversation,
like catfishing, like
private.
on like Tinder
catfishing.
dates, like on Tinder dates, like, hey, look at this, like 10 with big tits.
Yeah, like I don't
Cares? They're
agree.
exposing some
nerd.
horrible scumbags, and I don't
Well, they do
Exactly.
expose
get
some
at it.
stuff. That's the
Yeah.
thing. There is an element of that somebody has to do it, but like it is,
But
it
it's
takes your credibility away, and you aren't able to get necessarily the message across. to everybody.
Barry, I wouldn't say it's like their credibility, but the way they go about it is the system is going to go after you. They're gonna fucking use the FBI. They're gonna use tactics to get.
Yeah, but
like,
if you
to
have
get
enough
you.
credibility, they can't do that. Like
Well,
you
they're
look
gonna
at-
lawyer up. Like that's the thing. I don't think.
All
they
right,
have-
if you were Nightline and you wanted to like get, do it all by the book, how would you have handled this story?
right, and to your point, Barry, I get it.
I don't know
get
this
it.
story.
It's like they're coming
like,
after
the
them.
ones I know
The
about
story
they've done.
starts with a creepy old guy taking inappropriate showers with kids. Okay,
Like,
let's
dude-
start with the story. Okay,
Like
now how do we get to reporting it in a fair way?
Well, you got to find out how you can get that evidence, and then get it in a way that's like maybe a victim who's coming forward, or you know what I mean. That's kind of like the way that everyone's going to believe it that way. Whereas they're not necessarily going to believe it if there's like an ethical debate over should you have done it at all. It's kind of like
I don't even know
Edward
how
Snowden.
this diary got out.
Edward Snowden.
For all
is
we
how
know,
you do
she
it right.
released the diary voluntarily.
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
I don't
Glenn
know.
Greenwald is an example of someone who is, obviously he's getting attacked. He's consistently attacked, but he's also respected as like
Yeah.
a credible.
Yeah, the attacks don't work
journalist.
on him because he's got credibility.
But
That's
here's
what
the
I'm
thing.
saying.
But here's the thing.
The
Now
attacks
he
do work on Project Veritas. They do tend to get marginalized by the media's onslaught, which,
here-
in my opinion, we need to start moving past like crying about that we got marginalized by a system that's against us, and instead be immune to the system, like many people are. I mean, you look at Joe Rogan. Like one reason why people know Joe Rogan and they realize he's not a Nazi supremacist or whatever everybody decides to characterize him as, based on trying to cancel him or whatever. Like you have to be uncancelable by the media where they can't question your credibility at all,
Yeah.
which is not easy. Not everybody can pull it off, but part of it is like sometimes it's same with like being in law enforcement. Like sometimes you can't get the bad guy. So it's better to focus on a different bad guy where you got better evidence.
Wait, are you saying they
get
shouldn't
access
have?
of.
Are you saying they shouldn't have released this diary information about the president of the United States being a pedophile?
Well, the way I look at it is I don't believe we're gonna get traction ever because of that on that issue.
Right. No, he could
Forever.
sniff kids on TV 100 times and nobody's going to call him out on it. Okay?
But they will if it comes from a credible source the first time through some, like if his like granddaughter came forward, or I don't know the details. Of
Yeah,
it.
like
But I'm
okay,
saying
so
like there's a
confused.
way for it to be done where it works.
Okay,
And
so
look
this
at-
is his daughter's. Is this his daughter's or his
I think
granddaughter's?
it's his daughter's diary.
Okay,
I think
And
I had
didn't
granddaughter.
did he have a da- I didn't even know he had a daughter. I didn't think Joe Biden had her. I thought he had two sons.
Okay,
Right?
maybe it's a granddaughter.
I think
Okay.
it's
Well, then
a
showers
granddaughter.
with
It's a granddaughter.
hold on. But then showers with my dad wouldn't be him if it's not his
Right,
daughter. It would be
that's-
someone
yeah,
else.
and that's
So I don't even know how this is even relevant.
Hunter, and that's Hunter Biden.
Yo, there's
That
nobody
was
in the
shit.
comments.
But this
to
is
try to,
Hunter
like,
Biden.
correct
Hold on.
us.
Let's just.
Yeah.
let me just-
Also, I feel like we're totally being throttled right now because we haven't had one comment on any of this shit. We've gotten no traction.
There's no
on this
comments.
stuff.
Like
It's
we're being
weird.
fucked
This
right
is
now.
weird. If you're watching,
Are we actually
Send us a message.
broadcasting?
Are we live right now?
we are live. I've been checking.
Are
we
we
live?
live?
We've got a
There's
few
no
likes.
comments.
We're just not
Okay.
important. That's the problem.
Is there
All right, hold on. So Ashley Biden is, she is the daughter of Joe Biden.
Oh shit! I didn't even know he had a daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a daughter. She's 40.
Huh.
So yeah, this
She's
is
only
her
40?
diary. She's 40.
And Jill
Also
is her
in
mother,
politics
right?
to a certain crowd of the mainstream.
You'd probably tap it too if I had to guess, Otto.
Yeah.
Where's the
I probably-
picture? Where's the
Well, that
video?
doesn't really that doesn't rule many people out.
Thank you, John. Put his comment up there. We got to give shout out.
Johnny. Yeah, what's up, Johnny?
Johnny.
Johnny's in the house.
He's on our YouTube. Thank you.
He's just numb.
Yeah, you're on.
He's just numb at this point.
Johnny.
Yeah, I get it. We're all
You rock, Johnny.
We're all ready to.
I like
if
this
you guys
cute
are
cat
watching
icon.
on YouTube, please like and subscribe to the podcast. Please, that would help us a
Do
lot.
it.
So we get more
Yeah.
more likes and comments. But
Or
So,
follow on Twitter.
maybe we can talk a little bit this more in the after hours because we're coming up on it. But Barry, man, why don't you tell us a little bit about your band and stuff? And we didn't really get a chance to kind of hit that. So if you could just kind of tell us about how long you've been in the scene, the punk scene and stuff like that a little bit. For like the
My band's like
And
a
is your
weird-
next band name Wood Chippers Everywhere? Because that'd be a great band name.
Oh
That would
yeah,
be a sweet band name.
What's up, Tim?
Tim.
What's up?
All right, go
My
ahead.
band's called Look What I Did. And it's like a weird mix of like whatever. We take like a punk hardcore approach, but we make
right.
the songs like a modern version of like like maybe a Frank Zappa or a Mr. Bungle.
Dude, I fucking
like,
love Zappa.
hard.
I've been listening to a lot of Zappa lately.
Where
And
you kind of
Faith No
like
More. Yeah.
have fun with different genres and kind of like, but like not make it too proggy. Give it that little bit of that raw edge, like kind of like a hardcore punk band or whatever. But we do like 4-part harmonies, a lot of jazz chords, a lot of weird time signatures, but we kind of weave it to where it's not, it's more of a rock. I don't know, but we've been doing it for 20 years. We've been trying to find a way to fit into all the different scenes that were happening enough to continue to exist. We've been on Warped Tour. We've been on MTV Headbangers Ball. We've been, done some shit throughout the years. A lot of big tours with a lot of cool bands that don't sound like us at all, which is always complicated. And, being in the my band was more in like the punk, hardcore, metalcore kind of tours. So like you're dealing with a real at first there was the militant straight edge kind of there's a hardcore leftist kind of component to that. There was then even the gutter punk scene is kind of like a hardcore leftist component to that.
Oh yeah.
You're there's all those anarchist kind of black bloc kind of
they got a lot of
collectives that
a
put
lot
on
of
shows.
a lot of dogs that can't take care of when they're traveling. Yeah, those types.
Yeah, but then you also have the Christian metal scene.
Yep.
What the
and
fuck?
Christian hardcore scene. Which
Oh,
had
yeah,
its
I know.
whole own. That in the
Jesus
South,
fucking
that's the only
Christ.
place you could play in a lot of counties, because of the laws and stuff were really harsh for a band that might attract kids into devil stuff.
Dude,
That's
that
what's
devil
funny is right
music.
now the liberals have become, now they're not liberals at all anymore. They've abandoned that.
No.
The progressives have become the 80s satanic panic church ladies mixed with
PMRC.
the 2001 George Bush authoritarian. They've combined that into a super Voltron of just canceled. Everything's canceled.
It's like
School
Wu-Tang.
life.
of
They-
cancel.
they
formed like
That's a podcast
Voltron.
title. That's a
formed like-
podcast title.
They formed like Voltron.
Yes.
Super Voltron.
Super Voltron. Karen Super Voltron.
Yeah.
That would be her name. Halloween
Yeah.
her name.
Right. So I mean, so what are your influences then? As a band? What'd you think?
Maybe that's a hard one, man. We listen to so many different things over the years.
You just
We like every kind of music, and we like to play it all at the same time. But-
Dude, that's the best way to describe your band. I was checking it out, and I'm like, this is kind of sounds like hardcore, but it kind of sounds like rock, and then it's just weird. It's
Dude, can you
this
play
weird
some?
fusion
Can you
of
just
stuff.
play some right now, or would that
Yeah,
trigger
let's
some
do it.
kind of copyright violation?
some copyright?
Oh, it
Well,
should.
the man's right here.
Well,
Well,
actually, any
It could
of the
because the
stuff
record
off of
companies own
our
it.
one record label, if you get something that's off of ours, probably not. So
Let's save it for the after
Well,
hours.
let's just let's tell people where they could go check out some of your stuff, YouTube channel.
just
or...
Google YouTube. Look what I did, and we're the music that comes up with that, which I feel proud of. That's a difficult thing to have. That's
Right,
a real
right.
fucking serious phrase that's used a lot.
Look
You
what
know what
I
I mean?
did.
A band, yeah. That's what I just look what I did band, and that's I found you guys on YouTube. But I know if there was like, you
pops
guys had
right up. We got a bunch
Bandcamp
of
or
music
SoundCloud.
videos. Check that out.
You had me at Zappa and then like hardcore. I'm like, okay.
I'm telling you, we're in a weird spot, but I think it's like it's working to our advantage now because like back when we were heavily touring and stuff, like everyone was in these like little subgenres, and if you deviated your sound from that subgenre, people were just not really feeling it. And that we were like crossing the subgenres. Like I remember there was one time we were like playing with Drop Dead Gorgeous, Human Abstract, and Folly on a tour, and like which is a weird tour. Drop Dead Gorgeous was like this hair metalcore kind of, and they were like 16, right?
Yeah.
And so you got all these 14-year-olds, it's their first show, and they're trying to be these tough hardcore guys. You know, I'm in my 30s touring right now. So we're playing weird stuff, and then back then everybody was playing breakdowns for the ninja stuff, you know?
Hell yeah.
We give them one.
All the masked
set.
kids get punched in the face.
Yeah. And so they're not feeling us at this point. And it's like this guy literally yells out in between songs, when are you guys going to play a breakdown? You know? And that's like, I've been on tour for like a month and a half, and Lord forgive me my language, but I was like, if you need a breakdown to mosh, you're a pussy, right? Because I was in a full rage at this point. You know what I mean? I've been like living a horrible lifestyle of like starvation and traveling always living in a van for like maybe a year and a half straight with no break, didn't live anywhere. So it was kind of like for this like guy, it's his second show ever. And it's some crap trend that's a New Jack trend in the first place. That is why you're here. And the reason why my band was kind of off, you know, on that tour on some dates was because we were singing it all on the song anywhere in it. It's like, if that makes you think it's emo, you don't understand music well enough to have an opinion, in my opinion. So I just snapped at that guy. I couldn't take it. And everyone just started moshing to everything.
There you go.
The rest of the show. Because now it's like, oh, you don't need a breakdown. So now they have to mosh literally all the time.
Or they're a bunch of pussies.
Right. Precisely.
Cool.
So, I mean, Lord forgive me my language, but I was in a rage, a full-blown rage. You know what I'm saying? It was like...
Nice. All right, man. Well, let's talk a little bit about this more in the after hours. But for the meantime, tell our listeners where they can find you and add you or any social media, any links you want to plug.
YouTube, Look What I Did band, I think. You know, I'm not entirely sure. Google Look What I Did, and we're in everything. Cool. We're well distributed and easy to find on Google. Find us and dig into all that. We got 20 years worth of music. We got more music coming soon. We got Evan Brewer just joined our band on bass. He's been in so many cool bands, Suicidal Tendencies, Faceless.
Yeah.
I
just want one Pepsi.
You know, he's been in a ton of cool bands. But yeah, he was in Terror for a while.
Oh shit, Terror? Oh fuck.
Yeah. So we got a new you know, record coming soon. It's gonna be dope.
Nice. Cool. Anywhere they can find you? You have Twitter or anything or social
media?
So Look What I Did band. Look What I Did jams on everything.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you guys soon this spring. We're gonna do a PRL barbecue show / Mises Caucus fundraiser
at Alex's house.
At my house. So stay tuned, everybody.
Nice. All right, man. Well, so let's we're gonna go take this on over to our after hours that we've been talking about the entire podcast. But after hours is pretty base, so I would check it out. If you guys want to check it out, we're gonna record it right after this. Go to our Patreon, sign up for as little as $1 a month. You get access to our whole backlog of, you know, all of the crazy episodes and future crazy episodes. So check that out. If you want to donate other ways to the show other than Patreon, go to prlfans.com and you'll find other ways to donate to the show. Go buy our t-shirts, please, over at libertariancountry.com. Use the code PRL or PRL Podcast. Get yourself a 10% discount. If you use the code PRL2, you'll get a 20% discount when you spend $50 or more. And they got a bunch of cool new shirts up there, so go check that out. Also, Wheelie's Pharmacy. Get all of your CBD needs there. Use the code PRL10 for a 10% discount. And we're brought to you tonight also by Moral Bob's podcast, Hidden in Plain Sight. So check him out too. And until next time, live free
or die.